where's the relationship between Will Smith and Chris Rock now? It's been a few weeks now since the Oscar controversy involving Will Smith and Chris Rock. And while many things have happened in order to evolve or progress the situation, the fact remains that it still happened. And people are still talking about it because it still doesn't quite feel resolved as of yet. That's not to say that it won't be figured out soon, but the longer it goes, the more one has to wonder. So, to ask the question again, where are these two now? The Oscars and what happened. This is a situation that has been talked about at length over the last several weeks. So, why stop talking about what happened now? Chris Rock was at the Oscars to present the award for Best Documentary. And being the comedian that he was, he decided to have some fun with his friends. Like, legit friends. They're friends. And he begged the crowd to let Will Smith win Best Actor, and then decide to poke fun at his wife Jada by saying, "Jada, love you. G.I. Jane 2. Can't wait to see it." As many have pointed out since that now infamous beat of time, that was a movie joke and a reference to Jada Smith's hair, as she looked like, at least to Chris Rock, the main character in G.I. Jane, who had a shaved head if you didn't know. And that was where the line was crossed because she has a condition that resulted in her hair falling out. Thus, her reaction to it was one that was unpleased with the situation. Not surprisingly at all, the camera expertly captured Jada's reaction, and it showed just how much she didn't appreciate that line about her and her look. And this is where Will Smith enters the picture. He was fine with Chris poking fun at his lack of winning actor Oscars, despite being nominated a lot for justified reasons. But when he cracked the joke about Jada, and he realized the levels to it, because the video showed he laughed at first, he decided to react in a way that no one expected, predicted, or even wants to see from Smith again. Because King Richard got up and walked on stage and went right up to Chris and smacked him clean across the face. Naturally, this was a big deal from the moment that it happened. No one expected this to happen, planned for this to happen, and so on. And as a result, it was the talk of the Oscars, the town, the internet, the world, and everything in between. No charges pressed by Rock. The first big step was the question of charges, because no matter how big of a Will Smith fan you are, you have to acknowledge that what he did was assault on the comedian. There's plenty of irrefutable evidence to bring that fact home. Not to mention that Chris Rock even said out loud that Will had slapped him. Also, the internet slowed down that footage to see if it was a real slap or not. And it was. Though some do claim it was a stage trick, but that's the power of the internet for you. LAPD was on scene for security purposes and went to Chris Rock to see if he would press charges, but to the shock of some, he didn't. Many noted that he didn't do it because he didn't want to make a bad situation worse. And that's honestly a very telling tale of his character. Because most people would have done that, especially because they might have gotten something out of Will Smith by doing that. But not Chris Rock. Despite all the cries for more justice to happen in regards to punishing Will Smith, he just wanted the night to continue. And continue it did. And then the week continued, and Chris went on his merry way to a place where he opened up a bit more about what happened. The comedy show Reaction. Chris Rock made an emotional return to the comedy stage on the Wednesday night following the Oscars. Rock made his first public remarks there as well. In his first of two shows, he was greeted by the audience at Boston's Wilbur Theater with 2 back-to-back standing ovations lasting several minutes. "Let me be all misty and shit," Rock said with tears in his eyes, gesturing to the crowd's warm response. "How was your weekend?" he quipped, to which the audience responded with laughter. "I don't have a bunch of shit about what happened, so if you came to hear that, I had like a whole show I wrote before this weekend, and I'm still kind of processing what happened, so at some point I'll talk about that shit, and it'll be serious and it'll be funny, but right now I'm going to tell some jokes." The comedian, currently on his Ego Death Tour, then continued his performance. Marsha Paul, who attended the show, told CNN she could tell Rock was moved by the audience reception. "The crowd just went crazy when he came on stage," she said. "They were really happy to see him and support him. Didn't seem like he wanted to talk about it, which didn't really bother us since he was so entertaining he didn't need to." Rock returned to the stage for a second show about an hour later. He was greeted with a standing ovation once again. "I wrote a show before all this nonsense happened," Rock said. He reiterated that he plans to talk about the incident at the Oscars in more detail at some point. Then, seemingly in reference to whether he's spoken with Smith since the weekend's events, Rock said, "I haven't talked to anyone, despite what you heard." A very telling couple of statements, wouldn't you say? Because there were some that said Will and Rock reconciled as families do, but apparently that's not the case. What Will said to apologize to Rock. Naturally, Will Smith did eventually apologize for his actions, but it wasn't immediate, as the Oscars proved. But on Instagram the very next day, he did a much grander gesture. "Jokes at my expense are part of the job, but a joke about Jada's medical condition was too much for me to bear, and I reacted emotionally," he wrote. "I would like to publicly apologize to you, Chris. I was out of line and I was wrong. I am embarrassed and my actions were not indicative of the man I want to be. There is no place for violence in a world of love and kindness." Smith added in his post that violence in all forms is poisonous and destructive. He also included in his note an apology to the Academy, the producers of the show, all the attendees, and everyone watching around the world, as well as the family of tennis star Venus and Serena Williams. "I deeply regret that my behavior has strained what has been an otherwise gorgeous journey for all of us," he wrote. "I am a work in progress." While some were moved by the apology, others wanted to hear what Chris Rock had to say about it, which was nothing, technically. "I get paid." This line came from another stop on his comedy tour. In front of a sold-out crowd, he said the following: "I'm okay. I have a whole show, and I'm not talking about that until I get paid. Life is good. I got my hearing back." Now, some might see this as a joke, but it's been over 2 weeks since the Oscars, and Chris really hasn't said anything at all. In fact, some have been surprised by his lack of words on the subject. So, could this indeed be a money play? It wouldn't be the oddest thing in the world. In some ways, Chris could see this as his just reward for having endured that at the Oscars, and everyone focusing on the punishment of Will Smith versus asking if Chris Rock is okay. Some out there might say, someone hasn't contacted him about this, and we're sure that they have. This is the media world we're talking about here. But he obviously has refused them for one reason or another. So thus, it's Chris's call when he talks, who he talks to, and so on. And indeed, that is his choice on the matter. So what do you think? What do you think of this look at the current situation with Will Smith and Chris Rock and how things have gone since the Oscars? Do you feel that there is a chance of this getting truly resolved? What will it be like when Rock and Smith finally do sit down, if they sit down with one another and talk it all out? Will it be a special event on TV when it happens? Let us know in the comments below, and we'll see you next time on the channel.